2008, just one day before the U.S. Senate would vote to bail out many of the largest banks in our country. One of the most daring and unusual heists in recent memory was pulled off in the small town of Monroe, Washington. The crime was audacious. It was ornate. It was also a little bit ridiculous. There were disguises, Craigslist hired decoys, a once great athlete turned criminal mastermind. And it had an escape so outlandish that it's still, to this day, hard to believe. This season, we will dive deep into the DB Cougar heist that rocked this suburb of Seattle. We will talk with eyewitnesses, the lead detective, and the criminal himself to understand how and why this crime occurred. And with new reporting, we will dig into the parts of this case that remain unsolved and people that remain unpunished. My name is Nate Scott. I'm a reporter and editor at For the Win and USA Today Sports. This is The Sneak.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts all in one.
Can't use her debit card for a buck. Look, there are a lot of people around the world who would love to have that as their main problem. Ukraine, Gaza, Israel, Russia. The Tim Conway Jr. Show. The biggest problem is, I had to use my debit card for the extra $1 at McDonald's. Live 4 to 7 p.m. on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. And this is KFI and all, and the morning crew on a Taco Tuesday, April the 2nd. Wow. Boy, it's just flying. Yeah, I think the older you get, it goes by so much quicker. And why is that happening? It actually, there's a good reason for it. Because you remember when you were a kid, summertime went forever and ever? Because if you're 5 years old, 1 year was 20% of your entire life. Yeah. And now when you are older and older, it becomes smaller percentage. So you zip through it. Okay. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you. That matters. Let's return. Handle on the news. Amy and Neil and me.
File this under Wiggle Waggle Walk. Dogs are geniuses. Dogs can understand apparently certain words when they're referring to specific objects. This is a new study that suggests they may understand words in similar ways to human. What they don't understand is don't crap on the couch.
That's correct. That they can't. But there are these experiments that seem to have been done in which it was more than just associating words, like you yell their name and they realize after a period of time that's their name. We're talking about recognizing things like my daughter's dog, Kendall. Our Pamela is a real foodie. Kendall understands. So what Pamela will say, making Indian food, we'll go to Kendall and go, what do you think? And immediately goes to the spice rack, takes out a jar of curry, and it just all works. Very smart dog.
I swear I thought you were going to say dogs are pretty smart. My daughter, Pamela, learned what sofa was very early on.
Okay.
I thought that was going to be a little rough.
Okay.
So Israel is not only fighting Hamas. Suspected Israeli warplanes have bombed Iran's embassy in Syria, destroying a building. This is seen as an escalation in a war that pits Israel against its regional adversaries. Iran says they're going to respond.
Yeah, we don't know how. Now, a line has not been drawn here. Of course, Iran is an enemy of Israel. I mean, fundamental viscerally. Iran also calls for the destruction of the Israeli state, always has, and funds all these terrorist organizations, actually all over the world. Israel will never attack Iran. Will never attack the state of Iran. However, Iranian-backed or Iranian folks that are all over the world, in this case, the embassy of Iran, they're going to go for it. They're going to go for anybody who is deemed to be militarily involved in attacking Israel. That's exactly what that happened here. So I don't know what the attacks are going to be. Probably attacks on the Houthis. It doesn't matter. They'll figure it out. But you won't see a war. You will not see an engagement between the two countries.
Oh, this one stinks a little. The Tropicana. This is one of those chapters of Las Vegas history coming to a close. The Tropicana Las Vegas is coming down. It shut its doors for good today. It will be demolished to make way for a Major League Baseball stadium for a home of the new athletics, or new one.
They're moving to Las Vegas. Hey, I have a question. Can you imagine who was there over the weekend? Who was a paying guest over the weekend?
Oh,
Restaurants open? I mean, what do you do on the weekend before the Tuesday that it shuts down?
Well, you can't complain about anything.
No, that's true.
Like, my steak is cold. So what?
I was wondering what it must have been like this past weekend. Was anybody even there?
I don't think anybody's been in the Tropicana for years.
Yeah, but I'll bet you there are a few diehards that were there.
It was maybe it was one last stand type of thing.
I would be interested in being there the last weekend to see what they do.
You know what? I think they're tearing it down tomorrow. You should go tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, whenever a restaurant does close down, Neil, an announcement is made, right?
Yeah.
We are shutting our doors this weekend. What do you... Be right back. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Stimulating talk for independent thought.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Not just for the kids. I'm Amy King, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. A researcher at UCLA says California's higher minimum wage for fast food workers will benefit more than teens.
UCLA Labor Center manager Tia Kuhn says the raise to $20 an hour isn't about teen workers saving up for a new phone.
The truth is that well over half are over 25.
Kuhn says roughly 70% of fast food workers are women, many who bring in the sole income for their house and frequently turn to the government for help.
Fast food workers have to rely on the public safety net to make ends meet.
She says restaurants should use their record sales and profits instead of responding to the pay raise with higher prices and fewer employees. Michael Monk's KFI News.
News brought to you by Sweet Jane's Accident Attorneys. The National Institutes of Health has granted researchers at UC San Diego $6.7 million to develop and test technologies for non-invasive examinations of immune cells found in tumors. Researchers say they'll measure the density of the cells called macrophages, and that can help doctors decide which therapies and treatments will be most effective. They say the TAM-Sense technology will be used in patients with recurrent head and neck tumors. Caltrans says multiple projects are in the works to try to make the end of the 105 freeway in Norwalk safer. LA County Supervisor Janice Hahn recently sent a letter to the state asking for immediate safety measures. She says there were a dozen crashes at the site last year, including 2 fatalities. She says the intersection has become a crash magnet. Iran has promised to respond to what it says was an Israeli airstrike on the Iranian consulate in Syria. ABC's Britt Clement says Iran claims 2 generals and several soldiers were killed yesterday.
Officials say at least 7 people died as emergency responders sifted through the twisted metal looking for survivors. The multi-story building next to the embassy left in smoking ruins, reportedly hit by 6 missiles from Israeli warplanes.
Israel has repeatedly targeted military officials from Iran, which supports militant groups fighting Israel in Gaza and along its border with Lebanon. Former President Trump's media company has lost $2 billion in value. ABC's Aaron Katursky says Stock in the newly public company plunged more than 20% in a single day.
There's a real question whether Truth Social can even survive. An auditor's quoted in a regulatory filing saying that $58 million net operating loss last year raises substantial doubt that Trump Media can be a viable company going forward.
Kaczynski says Trump's own stake has lost more than $1 billion. Recent filings show Trump generated just $4.1 million in revenue last year. The data website SimilarWeb says monthly Truth Social users dropped in February to 494,000 compared to Instagram's Threads, which has more than 10 times as many users. Google has agreed to delete billions of data records related to users who thought their browsing was private.
It's part of a settlement in a 2020 class action lawsuit which alleged Google didn't properly inform users about how it tracked their activity using incognito mode.
ABC's Mike Dubusky says Google has agreed to update its disclosures and to allow users to disable third-party cookies by default for the next 5 years. Martin Short is now the mayor of Thunder, California. It's north of San Diego County. It's home to Harrah's Resort, Southern California. The only murders in the building actor will be the tiny town's mayor for 2 years. He'll replace actress Jane Lynch. Short's going to take the oath of office on May 13th and be given a key to the city that he doesn't have to live in. We'll check the 134 with the KFI in the Sky next.
You can get rid of those ugly varicose veins on your legs, which they usually are. And I'm not talking about just being uncomfortable, itchy, it can hurt, but I'm talking about the fact that they are ugly. That's universal. And you can get rid of them with virtually no downtime. I'm talking about the vein experts at West Medical using the latest state-of-the-art minimally invasive varicose vein procedure is called VenaSeal, and it is the most high-tech procedure out there. It's a fast, in-office, 20-minute procedure. Will have you back on your feet immediately. You'll be able to return to normal activities the same day. Plus, it's covered by most PPO health insurance plans. And West Medical's vein specialists, and they are leaders in medical innovations, particularly in this field, and they've helped thousands of people say goodbye to those ugly veins on their legs. Now, it's still going to be ugly, but you're not going to have those veins. Call 1-800-WEST-MED for a free consultation. That's 800-WEST-MED, or visit westmedical.com, westmedical.com.
Southland weather from KFI, sunny skies, highs around 70 at the beaches, low to mid-70s for Metro LA and Inland Orange County, mid-70s to near 80 in the valleys and Inland Empire, 60s for the Antelope Valley, about the same tomorrow, mostly cloudy and cooler on Thursday with highs in the 50s and 60s. We've got a slight chance of showers late Thursday with rain probable on Friday. We'll be back to sunny skies with highs in the 60s through the weekend. It's 49 in Dana Point, 54 in Long Beach, 50 in Ladera Ranch, and 52 in Whittier. The KFI Market Report brought to you by Quantum ePay. The Dow is trading down 418 points. The NASDAQ off 215, and the S&P 500 is down 46.
Brought to you by Quantum ePay. Merchants who make the switch to Quantum ePay save an average of 53% on payment processing. Call today to see how much you can save. Just dial #250 on your cell and say keyword Quantum.
Well, the roads are a mess, but the skies above them are a little more clear. We've got Will, Southern California's only radio airborne traffic reporter, checking in on the 134.
Yeah, boy, what a tough ride we've got right now in Glendale, westbound side of the 134 in Glendale Avenue. Everybody being forced way over to the right shoulder at last check there, and that has caused big backups. It's a fatal crash being investigated in the 411 lanes. And the backup starts just a little bit past Figueroa. Now, if you haven't reached Figueroa yet, I strongly suggest getting off the freeway there at Figueroa, head south to Colorado Boulevard. You can head west on Colorado. You'll end up in Eagle Rock there, past the 2 freeway, and hopefully over by Glendale Avenue or Brand, you can get back on the freeway and rest along your way there, and you'll be on the way. But yeah, it's a tough one there. We're just checking out a problem here on the westbound side of the 91 before Imperial Highway. 2 left lanes blocked by what looks like a crash. So it looks like the car is damaged there at the left, causing big delays. That freeway is jammed up solid all the way from the 15. Speaking of the 15, it is a little bit slow down through the Cajon Pass. A few brake lights here and there. Nothing in lanes for you, but just beware. And we had a problem northbound side of the 710 right around the 5. Crash there on the right shoulder, getting a whole lot of attention as you get away from the 105 freeway. With Southern California's only airborne traffic reports, Will Colesrimer, KFI in the sky.
Waiting on a tax return? Hopefully it ends up in your hands. Fraudulent tax returns due to identity theft increased by 30% in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Our U.S.-based restoration specialists are experts dedicated to helping solve your identity theft issues. And all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. So we'll reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. Help protect your information this tax season with LifeLock. Save up to 25% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com.
Attention parents. Watch your child go from ABCs to confident readers in just 30 days with Hooked on Phonics. It only takes 15 minutes a day to unlock the most important life skill for their future, reading. We transform kids no matter their starting point with fun lessons, catchy songs, and guaranteed results. One grade level jump or your money back. Right now, get free access to Hooked on Math and Spelling apps, plus your first month for just $1. Visit hookedonphonics.com today and unleash your child's reading potential.
Tanya here, and there are many ways that we can all help raise awareness around HIV, but maybe the most important is just talking about it openly and honestly. There's no cure for HIV, but there are effective treatments that, taken as prescribed, can help you live healthy with HIV and get to and stay undetectable, which means the amount of the virus is so low it can't be measured by lab tests. If you're living with HIV and not on treatment, talk to your doctor about treatment options. Learn more at treathivtoday.com. This message was sponsored by Gilead Sciences.
Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, sports, talk, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good. KFI AM 640. You are listening to The Bill Handel Show. All right.
KFI AM 640. Bill Handel here. It is a Tuesday morning, Taco Tuesday, April 2nd. Hey, coming up at 8:30, Steve Gregory is joining us because Steve, how unusual, broke yet another story. He does this on a regular basis. He's going to share that information with us. And Steve, at the Golden Knights Award Saturday night, Steve only won 11 Golden Knights. It's... You remember the picture of What's-Her-Face Suleiman with the octuplets? Where she was holding all of those babies up, right? That's Steve with his golden mics. And what a picture. He has them sneaking out of his pocket and down on the floor and behind him. Because they have over 100 of them. You know that? Golden Mike Awards? No one comes close to that.
Now he's feeding them.
So now he's going to get an award for having the most awards.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely. All right, anyway.
Good for him.
Yeah, no, he deserves it. I think he's the best in the country at what he does. And I've said that many, many times. And that's not me blowing smoke. Because you'll notice Neil or Amy or anybody, I'd never say you're the best in the country at what you guys do.
Oh, and we repay that compliment.
Yes, you do. Yeah. Yes, you do.
Oh, I've been with Steve coming back from lunch or something. And he goes, he gets his little bat phone, starts ringing. Beep, boop. And then he goes, I got to make a couple stops. And then, sure enough, we stop and he comes back to the car. Yeah, there's a dead body in the mountains.
Yeah, no, he gets those. I've been on a huge... Yeah, I've come back from lunch and Steve picks up his phone and he goes, yes, Captain. And he turns to me, got to drop you off. Breaking story I have to go to. And he's the first one that is called.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's usually called before the ambulances are called. In any case, let's move on and talk about what's going on with Google and a lawsuit and a settlement. Google says that they're going to destroy, let's say, data that reflects millions of users of their web browsing histories, part of a settlement. And what? Why? Well, lawsuit alleged the company tracked people without their knowledge. This is the incognito browsing option that you take, and therefore you're incognito, and therefore your information is not collected and then moved on to advertisers and folks that are buying data mining. And so they got caught with their pants down, or their
hand in our pants.
Yes, their hand in the cookie jar, if you will. Now, I'm assuming everybody uses Google. You use Google, don't you, Neil?
Of course.
Okay. Amy, Google?
Yep.
All right. Kono, you use Google?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And of course, uses Google. Everybody is nodding their heads. And I use Google. It's become a verb. I mean, that's it. It's just, it's like Kleenex. Give me some Kleenex, or Xerox, although that's less of it. Or I need a Band-Aid. All of brand names that have become generic. They have become, well, they're not generic. They're still brand names, but they have become the verb for, or the noun for, the very the very item or the service that's offered. So you go out and you Google something. All right, with that in mind, anything, and I've said this before many, many times, anything you go onto, any website you go onto, let's say you are going for, I did a little research the other day because I was going to do a story on it, and it was people having sex with chickens. So I went ahead and Googled sex with chickens. Just pop-ups came. Kentucky Fried Chicken. You had Chick-fil-A ads that popped up. You had marital toys in the shape of chickens. Japanese blow-up chick dolls. I mean, it just went completely crazy. Why? Because I Googled, and the algorithm picked up the fact that, wow, Handle really is looking into, sex with chickens. Now, we're not talking about using it as chicken feathers, because that's eroticism, right? We're talking about full-blown chicken. Never mind. The point I'm making is that it doesn't matter what you are looking at. You are now on the list for every advertiser, everybody who's data mining of whatever you're interested in. Doesn't matter what it is. You look for shoes, for example. I'm going on the internet. I'm looking for a pair of shoes or hiking boots. Boom. You're going to get nothing but pop-up ads. They know that you're looking for shoes, and you bought yourself an email barrage. Okay. Now, Google, of course, had the ability, or you had the ability to go on to Google and say, I don't want that. I want incognito. Incognito. You're not going to use my stuff. You're not going to store my stuff. You're not going to sell my stuff. You're not even going to know after I started looking. It disappears. Guess what? Liar, liar, pants on fire. And now they have settled. And why are lawsuits still going on? I'll give you a couple of legal reasons why you still see lawsuit after lawsuit, and why, of course, they settled and will never admit doing wrong, and why companies also will settle. And I'll explain that coming back. In the meantime, I'm going to Google, and let's do a derivative of that chicken thing, okay? Let's look at sex with aardvarks, see how that works. There's a lot we can look at. You're giving me the weird look.
Everyone's giving me the weird look, including everyone listening.
That's fair enough. Okay. Amy, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom?
Yes, Cyprus says 3 aid ships carrying 400 tons of food and aid to the Palestinians in Gaza have left Gaza and are headed back to Cyprus after 7 aid workers were killed in what Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says was an unintended strike by Israeli forces where the food was being delivered. 100 tons had been offloaded. The rest is still on board the ships. Former President Trump has put up a $175 million bond, which means District Attorney Letitia James can't start seizing his assets and property during his appeal of his civil fraud trial in New York. No one won the Powerball jackpot last night, so there's another lottery with a jackpot over $1 billion. The next drawing for Powerball tomorrow night will be worth an estimated $1.09 billion. A Mega Millions jackpot was hit last week. It was worth $1.13 billion, and the winning ticket was sold in New Jersey. We've got continuing problems on the 91. We'll check in with the KFI in the sky next.
Obviously, we are, I think the word is correct, suffering from a lot of rain. And here's what happens when the rains come. Because when they stop, the termites come out. And they start invading your wall, infesting, and damage starts almost immediately because these guys eat 24/7, and they multiply, and they have your house for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. So how do you deal with it? Because sometimes, by the way, they're doing their damage in places you don't even see that's where they are. So let me suggest calling the folks at Pacific Coast Termite, get a free home or business inspection. Certain restrictions apply, and even if you don't even think you have termites, have no idea, it's worth the phone call. And if you do have termites, they go to work and they do it without tenting. Boy, let me tell you, tenting is a nightmare. I've been there, and I'll tell you, they can even do their work while you're at home, like it was in my case. That's Pacific Coast Termite. Call 800-PACIFIC. Visit PacificCoastTermite.com.
Coast Termite kills termites. A clean, friendly way.
Becoming sunny with highs in the 60s in the high desert, around 70 at the beaches, low to upper 70s inland. This report brought to you by Staples Stores. From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, let's go places. Let's go to Southern California's only radio airborne traffic reporter, Will Colshaw.
Head westbound there on the 91 freeway. It is a mess in Anaheim Hills. We had an earlier problem, and now the latest one is a crash right before Imperial Highway. The 2 left lanes are blocked traffic at a standstill all the way back from the 15th. So that is pretty ugly there on the westbound side of the 91. Unfortunately, not a lot of change yet, although hopefully pretty soon on this crash on the 134 in Glendale. It's the westbound 134 at Glendale Avenue. Everybody being pushed over to the far right off-ramp lane. That's because of a fatal crash investigation in the left 4 lanes involving a semi versus a small car there. So they're still working on that again. Get off the freeway at Figueroa and get south to Colorado Boulevard. Head west there. That'll help you get around that crash. Will Coltschreiber, KFI in the sky.
Waiting on a tax return? Hopefully it ends up in your hands. Fraudulent tax returns due to identity theft increased by 30% in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Our U.S.-based restoration specialists are experts dedicated to helping solve your identity theft issues. And all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. So we'll reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. Help protect your information this tax season with LifeLock. Save up to 25% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com.
Attention parents. Watch your child go from ABCs to confident readers in just 30 days with Hooked on Phonics. It only takes 15 minutes a day to unlock the most important life skill for their future, reading. We transform kids no matter their starting point with fun lessons, catchy songs, and guaranteed results. One grade level jump or your money back. Right now, get free access to Hooked on Math and Spelling apps, plus your first month for just $1. Visit hookedonphonics.com today and unleash your child's reading potential.
O'Reilly.
If you've got questions, O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge, just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino. Cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
In this week's Marketers Report, Chris Brandt, Chief Marketing Officer at Chipotle Mexican Grill, weighs in on the power of audio, specifically audio influencers.
Audio has been a key component for us. Our consumer is omnichannel, so we need to be omnichannel. We've used audio to reinforce what we're showing on TV, what we're showing in other digital channels. When your priority is driving reach, boy, everybody seems to listen to the radio. I think using the audio influencers has been a huge component for us. Working with iHeart, we were able to really tease out the audio influencers in key markets that were authentic Chipotle fans. And because it's authentic and because they're seen as trusted friends by the customers and the listeners, it's really been an effective strategy.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to all, from national to local. Every audience, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow. Not just a media company, iHeartMedia is your access company. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
That's the sound of a tree in Tennessee's Great Smoky Mountains, releasing volatile organic compounds, which is just a fancy way of saying it's creating fog. And that makes the Smokies smoky. This is one of many sounds in Tennessee with a story to tell. To hear them in person, plan your trip at tnvacation.com. Tennessee sounds perfect.
Here comes the Homeless Liaison Program team to provide much-needed resources. Yes, we've been providing them for about 10 years now. Oh, another team is coming, a therapeutic transport team. Maybe they can have a softball game. John Cobell, put them in jail for the night. Keep doing that every day, they're going to find somewhere else to go.
Live 1 to 4 p.m. on KFI.
And on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. And this is KFI AM 640. No handle here. It is a Taco Tuesday, April the 2nd. Coming up at 8:30, Steve Gregory, huge story that he broke. How unusual. So we'll talk to Steve. Rod Pyle at 8 o'clock this morning. Some space news we have not yet talked about, or we haven't lately, and I just love the space stuff. Always have. All right, back we go with the story about Google. And I went around the room as to how many of us use Google. Every one of us. I mean, the number of people. Well, as I said, it's a verb now. Even when you're using something else, you're not pinging. Even if you use Bing, for example, you're not. Is Yahoo is that a browser? By the way, I don't even know. Because all I do is use Google. But whatever it is, you're Googling. And so Google, of course, is ubiquitous. And a settlement has occurred because the lawsuits happened. Well, this was a class action lawsuit filed in 2020, accusing Google of misleading us. How Chrome tracked the activity of anyone who used the private incognito browsing option. So you go to Google, you would choose the incognito browsing function, and therefore the stuff that you did is confidential, which of course it blew wide open because it's just not true. And this is one of those where they had to settle up. Man, they have to settle up. First of all, they plan on destroying trillions of pieces of data on millions of users of web browsing history. And that's number one. Number two, they agreed to immediately stop their practice, what they said they was already doing. Now, a couple of things about the settlement. First of all, of course, they don't admit any wrongdoing because they can't. And everybody would think, oh my God, they're paying it off and not admitting any wrongdoing. What a sleazy thing to do. They can't. Because there are lawsuits flying all over the place, and as soon as they've admitted they've done something wrong, boy, those lawsuits are over. It's finished. The plaintiffs have won. Because I have to bring up, you admitted you did something wrong. I really didn't mean it, but only in that case that I admit I did something wrong. You can't do that. The other thing is it doesn't affect other lawsuits, and there are two levels of this. One, the settlement does not settle big picture lawsuits. In other words, you can still file lawsuits against Google, even though they have settled with the plaintiffs. You can always do that. You can opt out. And the other thing is the ones that do go to court, the settlement can't be introduced in court. A jury can't hear that Google has settled in other cases or settled the class action suit. It cannot be considered by the jury or the judge. And why is that? Because that is so prejudicial. Because the way it works is whenever you bring in a piece of evidence, if it is prejudicial, for example, bringing in someone who's accused of a crime and bringing them in shackles and a prison uniform during the trial. Notice they're always in suits. They're always in coats and ties. Now, in prison, they're not in coats and ties, or in jail awaiting the trial, they're not in coats and ties. They're changed into coats and ties. And why is that? Because coming in with a prison jumper and shackles, in which they go every place else, is so prejudicial to a jury. They're going to look at this guy shackled up and immediately go to, okay, he's guilty. So the same thing works with these settlement conferences. If a jury knew that Company A, for example, settled for $300 million
with another plaintiff, of course that's prejudicial. Well, then they've done something wrong. So Google at this point is saying we did nothing wrong. We're not admitting they've done anything wrong, just changing their practices. By the way, this was actually a settlement that was done in late December because February there was a huge trial that was slated. So Google was also fighting a separate lawsuit, the Justice Department lawsuit, accusing it of monopolizing the search and ad tech markets. So not only wrongly grabbing people's information after they said don't use it, and Google said, of course we won't use it, we won't keep it, and did that, but also the argument is effectively monopoly. And that is the way it is set up, like Amazon, the way it is set up, it prejudices everyone who is not Amazon or who is not Google. In other words, you've got Google advertisers that go to the top of the heap, and they shouldn't be there, and the algorithm just moves you up there, like Amazon products, right? It's supposed to be a search engine. Boom, I want to see all of the walks. I recently bought a walk on Amazon. Well, you notice that there's two things. Sponsored ads, you're told all about that. That's not a problem. But they also jump over other third-party sellers in such a way, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So lawsuits keep on going and going. And we're just starting to see the beginning of these lawsuits with companies on the internet. I mean, we've seen plenty of them, but now it's going to explode, particularly with AI. It's going to blow wide open. No one has any idea. So, Neil, last time you Googled something, what were you looking for?
The last time I Googled something was during the news about Joe Flattery.
Okay.
Passing away.
Right, fair enough.
Now, did Google, didn't they say that it wasn't used for anything or it wasn't attached to anybody?
Yeah, that's what they said.
But my curiosity is if they're deleting this information, that doesn't admit any sort of wrongdoing?
No, it's just that they don't admit any wrongdoing at all. They just agree to do it. Well, for example, you have the tobacco companies that have, well, that's different. You can't argue that. But you have a company that settles with a plaintiff, causing injury. Let's say a design defect, right? A bumper that doesn't work, and it kills people because of the design on a car. And so the car manufacturer settles it. And doesn't that mean that it's a bad design? Nope, not at all. We're not admitting fault. We're just settling it because we don't want to go through litigation. We don't think it's worthwhile. Which, by the way, in many cases is the truth. The way our legal system is set up, a lot of business decisions are made, we'll just settle it. I've done that a couple of times. When I've been sued in business ridiculously, where it was totally frivolous lawsuit,
it's just easier than...
It's just easier. Just pay this amount of money because it's going to cost far more than that in legal fees and the hassles. You just pay it.
You want to know a strange fun fact? You know what the second to last thing I Googled? A slee stack mask. Do you even know what that reference is?
No, a slee stack?
From Land of the Lost. You remember that TV show,
No.
Land of the Lost?
Yeah, I didn't actually watch Land of Lost.
Okay, well, there were creatures called slee stacks, and I was looking for a life-size mask for my shop.
Of course.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much. Okay, something that I have talked about a whole lot, and that is the tool belt generation. Don't go to college. Should you? Should you not? What's going on? I'll explain that. How Gen Z is becoming the tool belt generation. Amy King, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Newly released video and audio shows a teenage girl fatally shot in Hesperia was killed by San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies as she appeared to be surrendering. Police say her father, involved in the shooting in 2022, had killed his wife and kidnapped his 15-year-old daughter. The pair was found near Barstow. There was a chase and then a shootout. A deputy was heard on a recording shouting at other deputies to stop shooting at the girl who was wearing tactical gear and a helmet. Both the teenager teenager and her father were killed. A judge in LA has rejected multiple motions to dismiss tax crime charges against Hunter Biden. He's facing a 9-count indictment in California for allegedly failing to pay $1.4 million in taxes for 3 years. Biden has pleaded not guilty to all charges. His trial could start in June. His lawyers could still appeal the judge's decision. A fire at a nightclub in Istanbul at a club that was being renovated, has killed 25 people. Several others were seriously hurt. The nightclub was on the ground floor of a 16-story residential building, but officials say it looks like those killed or hurt were involved in the renovation work. A person in Texas has been diagnosed with bird flu. ABC's Ariel Reshef says it's the second human case reported in the U.S. and the first linked to an exposure to cattle.
Health officials in Texas say that the person contracted the virus after working with infected dairy cows and only experienced some redness in their eyes, and it was treated with an antiviral drug.
The World Health Organization says 460 people around the world have died from bird flu since an outbreak in Hong Kong in 1997. Most of those infected got it from handling birds. The FBI is trying to figure out why a man rammed a vehicle into the front gate of the agency's office in Atlanta. The crash happened shortly after noon yesterday. The assistant special agent in charge of the office says the man tried to follow another vehicle through the gate, but security precautions stopped him. The driver was taken to the hospital for an evaluation. SpaceX has successfully launched another batch of satellites into low Earth orbit.
3, 2, 1, ignition. And the liftoff of Falcon 9. Go Starlink. Go SpaceX. Falcon 9 is supersonic.
That's faster than the speed of sound. The Falcon 9 lifted off from California's Vandenberg Space Force Base north of Los Angeles last night. The rocket's contrails were visible for hundreds of miles from the Central Coast to San Diego. Southland weather from KFI, sunny with highs around 70 at the beaches, mid-70s for highs in the metro LA and inland Orange County areas, mid to upper 70s in the valleys and IE, 60s in the Antelope Valley. Sunny with highs in the 70s tomorrow, dropping back into the 60s for Thursday. Rain is possible late Thursday and into Friday. It's 54 in Mission Viejo, 55 in Anaheim. Now let's check in with the KFI in the Sky, the only radio eye in the sky. Will Colschreiber is checking on some problems on the 134 in Glendale.
Continuing crash investigation here. It's the westbound side of the 134 at Glendale Avenue. All the mainline lanes are blocked with this crash, early morning fatal crash. It involved a semi, a big rig there that hit another car. The semi's been moved away. It's gone now. But they're still doing the investigation, and traffic jammed up solid from Figueroa on that westbound side of the 134. They're making everybody scooch over to the very far right off-ramp lane there, Glendale Avenue, and then you don't have to leave the freeway there, but they are making you go over all the way to the right. Traffic from Figueroa, again, I would get off at Figueroa, head south to Colorado Boulevard. It actually still looks pretty decent as an alternate. Head west on Colorado, you will find some brake lights, but nothing like you'll have on the freeway. Take that over in Eagle Rock and get over to at least Glendale Avenue, maybe Brand Boulevard, and get back on the freeway there up to the north. Meanwhile, 91 freeway, the eastbound side, right there at the 605, we haven't really problem. Looks like it's cleared, a few brake lights left over. Meanwhile, the westbound side of the 91 before Imperial Highway crash being worked on there. It is awfully slow all the way back to the 15 freeway as they work to clear that crash. With Southern California's only airborne traffic reports, Will Colschreiber, KFI in the Sky.
In year-round comfort, knowing your home is backed by industry heat lakes, permitted expert technicians at Great Lakes Heating and Air Conditioning. Special savings opportunities and federal tax credits are available. So call 574-287-5046 or visit us online at greatlakesheating-ac.com/coupons to learn more.
In this week's Marketers Report, we hear about the importance of local radio from Allison Griffin, head of marketing at State Farm.
iHeart has such a broad broadcast reach that is local, and for us to be able to touch customers with a local feel but at a national scale is so efficient and important for us.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, trusted influencers, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
The Daily Calendar.
Today
Monday, April 2nd.
Today is Peanut Butter and Jelly Day for the sandwich that was President George W.'s favorite. Today is also Autism Awareness Day and International Fact Checking Day. Nowadays, fact checkers are exhausted. And it's DIY Day and Ferret Day, so build your own ferret. Happy birthday to Last of Us star and Mandalorian Pedro Pascal, singer Marvin Gaye, and fairy tale writer Hans Christian Andersen. That's your daily calendar from KFI AM 640.
It says KFI AM 640. Bill Handel here. It is a Tuesday morning, April 2. Taco Tuesday. The Florida Supreme Court has cleared the way for that 6-week abortion ban in Florida, but a constitutional amendment is up and running, and it will be voted on in November. That could undo the 6-week ban and allow abortions in the state. The problem is it needs 60% of the vote of the electorate, and I don't know how the hell you're going to do that in Florida. So looks like that 6-week ban is coming into effect. And that's the strictest, among the strictest of the abortion bans that are out there. Now, let me tell you a story. And it may be true or it's apocryphal. Either way, it works. So you have a plumber show up at somebody's house for a plumbing problem, and then the plumber hands the bill to the owner of the property, who looks at it, eyes opening up, wide open, and he said, "My God, I'm a cardiovascular surgeon, and I don't make this kind of money." And the plumber said, "Neither did I when I was a cardiovascular surgeon." The point is it ain't a bad job to have to be a plumber or an electrician or an HVAC guy or the new technologies, manufacturing batteries, designing, working on solar. It doesn't really matter. The bottom line is America needs more plumbers. That's it. And other low-tech jobs. And there's a huge labor crunch. And so the skilled trades are appealing to a whole new group of American workers who are choosing to go into this career path instead of going to college. And who's doing this? Gen Zers. That's who's doing it. Born between 1997 and 2012 are picking up the tool belt. And why is that? Well, let's talk about it for a few moments. First of all, college, even though long-term is still considered a better bet in terms of how well you're going to do. I tell you, we don't have long-term studies at this point. We don't know what's going to happen 30, 40 years from now. We don't know that as more and more people graduate college, fewer and fewer people are going to be able to get great jobs. Especially jobs that demand college, especially now when over 50% of the jobs out there that require college don't require college. You know, for example, right here, there isn't a job here in this building that requires college. Not a one. Where a college education actually means anything. As a matter of fact, let's go to Kono. Broadcast journalism, right?
That's one of them.
Yeah, complete waste of time, right?
To some.
Okay, to me. Fair enough. Amy, college degree?
Yes.
In?
Communication.
Exactly. Communications. Boy, that really helps you. You really learned a lot to be behind the microphone in a newsroom. 4 years degree.
Communicating, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So did anybody who stutters, too. My kid started communicating when she was 1. Neil, I know you didn't go to college. I know you didn't go to junior college. I know you didn't even finish high school. Or maybe you even didn't finish junior high.
I did finish high school, barely. I got kicked out of high school and went to a continuation school to finish. But I did finish. I probably have what's the equivalent of a master's in theology and politics, but mostly self-taught.
The point I'm making is your skill level Actually, a 4-year degree would have gotten in the way of where you are right now.
Yeah, other than connecting with people and learning, I don't feel that I missed.
No, you didn't, and that's the entire point.
Now, my wife has her master's.
But she needs her master's.
Yeah,
she needs it to get licensed. It's one of those things where you have no choice. If you want to do A, you have to do B, or if you want to do B, you have to do A. Architects, lawyers, doctors have to go get those degrees. Now, as far as the rest of us being behind the mic, not even close. Being in the newsroom, running the board, being, producer. I mean, they don't teach you that stuff, and it doesn't help. Although, all things being equal, you're better off having a college degree. I used to do that when I hired people. Oh, yeah, I'll hire you instead of you because you have a college degree, even though the job means nothing in terms of what you are asked to do. The only thing I believe that a college degree does is show prospective employers that you are able to focus and finish a big task, and that is finishing a degree. Now, why the tool belt? First of all, because the money that you're making now in the skilled trades has really gone up. There's a huge shortage. There is there's a shortage of skill level you have to have, and on the other side, there is a glut. There is a glut of lawyers. There's too many of them. A glut of doctors, yeah, the subspecialties, cardio, pulmonary doctors, they got plenty of subspecialties. GPs, they're scrambling for GPs. So that's really the only shortage. I mean, you look at jobs out there, it's just not easy to get. College degrees, you would immediately go into a great job. And now, because there's a shortage, because employers are realizing, wait a minute, do I really need a college degree? And it depends on the industry. Some industries are so desperate for workers that they're willing to forego the requirement of college degree. But keep in mind, people don't need these degrees to do that job. Or there's too many of these specialties out there that theoretically make you buckets and buckets of money. Well, picking up that tool belt does help. And my dad, for example, was a union electrician for 35 years. In the 50s, he was making north of $20 an hour plus full benefits. My mother, till the day she died, had Kaiser coverage. And I mean full and complete because of the union deal. And she died at almost 98 and had Kaiser. To give you an idea of how strong the union was in terms of the electricians union, skilled craft, she called me up one day and went through the roof about her Kaiser coverage. They were actually charging her $13 a month copay instead of $8 a month. They raised it $5. And she went out of her mind. Now, those days are gone. Of course, that kind of coverage doesn't exist anymore. But the point is, great money to be made, especially if you can join a union for skilled trades.
But didn't you have, like, when I grew up and I was in high school, I learned metal, I learned wood, we had mechanics classes.
No.
I had a ROP class, Regional Occupational Program. I studied the thing that I thought I was going to go into at one point was printing and design. And so I studied offset printing. I studied.
Yeah, I remember they had the Linotype machines in print shop, which of course don't exist anymore. I do remember I took wood shop. I really enjoyed wood shop.
You were disappointed that it wasn't what you thought it was.
Oh, that's very funny. That's very funny. Okay, so we'll drop that one. Oh, okay. God, we always go to the lowest common denominator. Incidentally, I want to make a point for anybody who has ever taken woodshop in school. Have you ever seen a woodshop teacher that had 10 fingers? You never have. In fact, it is a requirement when a teacher applies for a job in teaching woodshop, have to be missing at least one finger, if not more. And the more fingers that are missing, the more qualified that teacher is. Okay, enough of that. I really enjoyed woodshop. I don't think they offer any of that anymore. I don't think any of that is offered anymore. Yeah, like PE, where they used to take a shower in PE. And you take a shower with the guys, and he handed you those horrible towels. He flicked so many times with towels. I mean, there was a world there. That was 20 years of therapy right there. Okay, guys, we are done. Working on Fridays. Why is it a ghost town here on Fridays? Well, there's a world to that one, too. Amy King, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says his country's forces had unintentionally hit innocent people in the Gaza Strip after an airstrike killed 7 aid workers with the disaster relief group World Central Kitchen. Cyprus says the relief ships off the coast are headed home. We still have about 240 tons of humanitarian aid on board. Google has agreed to wipe out millions of personal records stored in its data centers after settling a class action lawsuit over its Chrome browser. The lawsuit accused Google of tracking Chrome users' internet activity even when they had switched to the browser to incognito, which was supposed to mean they were browsing privately. The first no-hitter of the 2024 Major League Baseball season goes to Ronald Blanco. He struck out 7 and didn't allow a single hit in over 105 pitches. Houston's 10-0 win over Toronto. It was his just 8th career start and the earliest in the season no-hitter in MLB history. We've got big problems on the 134. We'll check in with the KFI in the Sky next.
If you're a business owner and you take credit cards or e-payments, good chance you're unhappy with your current provider, or you should be. High fees, delays in funding, poor fraud management, and a lot of companies do it that way. There's got to be a better way, and there is. So let me suggest you call Quantum ePay, the #1 rated payment technology provider in the nation, and that's not puffery. That is per Google reviews. So #1. Merchants who make the switch to Quantum ePay save an average of 53% on payment processing. And there are no hidden fees or surcharges or those ridiculous cancellation penalties. They'll review your current statement for free and show you exactly how much you can save, and I mean from day one. And if they can't save you money, they'll tell you that too. That's the way they do business. You get free point-of-sale hardware and software for retail, service, business-to-business, e-commerce companies. Now, pound 250 on your cell and just say the keyword quantum. Pound 250 on your cell phone and say quantum. Or visit quantumepay.com/KFI.
Morning clouds, afternoon sun, highs in the 60s to upper 70s. This report brought to you by Indeed.com. So, Will, you're the only one up there now. Lots of room to see that big problem in Glen.
The TV helicopters are here too. But we have this major problem. Still, all the main line lanes closed westbound side of the 134 here at Glendale Avenue. Only the very right lane, the off-ramp lane, is where people are getting by. Traffic backed up from Figueroa, but here's the good news. I see a tow truck hooking up to one of the vehicles. I believe this is very close to clearing. Again, on the westbound 134 in Glendale, we'll keep you updated. Bad crash, I haven't mentioned, it's the 15 northbound, right before Kenwood. If you're headed towards the high desert on the northbound side of the 15, they're approaching the Cajon Pass. Vehicle went over the side into a ravine, and they've been trying to figure out how to pick that thing back up and get it back up on its wheels. Traffic pretty slow back from the 215 as a result of that crash. Again, it's on the northbound 15 right there near Kenwood. And there's still clear problems on the westbound side of the 91 right before Imperial Highway. Crash there has things pretty slow out of Corona. Will Colschreiber, KFI The Sky.
At Ball State University, we're always reaching higher. We're home to one of the top first-year experiences in the country, called one of the best in the Midwest, and regularly recognized for the talent and dedication of our amazing professors. No one invests in students the way we do. 7 academic colleges, more than 115 undergraduate majors, countless opportunities for life-changing, career-lifting experiences. When you fly, we fly. BSU.edu.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives you access to all. Every audience, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow. iHeartMedia is your access company. Go to iHeartResults.com for more.
All the good stuff. Yeah. Camps keeps you on top of pop culture.
America's favorite killer doll may have taken a break, but he's coming back soon.
Sci-Fi Channel announced that Chucky, the comic horror adaptation of the Child's Play film series, will return in April for the second half of its third season. It stars Zachary Arthur, Jorg Van Arneson, Olivia Allen Lind, Brad Dourif and Jennifer Tilly from the films, along with Fiona Dourif and Devin Sawa, who plays the President of the United States this season. The third season of Chucky resumes April 10th on Sci-Fi Channel, with previous episodes streaming on Peacock.
Hi, and that's what's poppin'.
I'm Camps on iHeartRadio.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
A dermatologist to the stars found dead in an apparent suicide, and some were wondering this morning if a parody on a popular Netflix show went too far.
To women who hoped to evade the ticking clock of time, Dr. Brand was the most potent drug dealer in the world. And the dealer got high on his own supply.
Somebody told me they ran into him. I said, oh, great. Then he said, you wouldn't recognize him. Completely different. The hair was blonde. I don't know whether he had any cosmetic surgery over the years. He was very bright. I'd be shocked if he had a name on it or a B+ at anything.
This is the true story of how a self-described Jewish kid from Newark willed himself to the top of the $4.7 billion beauty industry. And the story of a sensitive outsider with big intelligence and even bigger ambition.
He was always picked out as a child, the skinny little guy, but with a brain that was beyond. You gotta remember, he redesigned himself. He took himself and made Fred Grant.
From Imperative Entertainment and the team behind Broken Hearts comes a new series that will challenge everything you know about fame, fortune, and the fear of growing old. I'm Justine Harmon, and this is the Baron of Botox.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Birthday parties. Getting back to the moments we miss starts with getting informed. Get the latest info about COVID-19 vaccines at getvaccineanswers.org. It's up to you. Brought to you by iHeartRadio and the Ad Council.
Movie theaters are getting real creative. It's not just about the latest blockbuster movie. Zoom rooms. Excuse me? It kind of defeats the purpose of a remote meeting. If you have to drive to the movie theater, no, Kelly, you might as well just stay at the office. Live 7 to 10 p.m. on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard,
At 5 a.m. 6:40, Bill Handel here, and the morning crew, Tuesday morning, Taco Tuesday, April 2nd. Oh, want to remind you that coming up on Sunday, April 21, the Wiggle Waggle Walk and the Run for Pasadena Humane Society. We do it every year. And team captain this year is Amy King, who's probably going to be our forever team captain. And it is Sunday, Brookside Park at the Rose Bowl. And you want to donate, get involved, walk your dog, have your dog walk you. It's a wiggle walk, it's a 5K, and everybody brings their dogs. Some of them rabid, which is always kind of a lot of fun as you see these dogs that you think they just brush their teeth and they're foaming. It is not them brushing their teeth. Anyway, you can donate, get involved. Just go to KFIAM640.com/wiggle. And yes, I've donated. And yes, we're asking you to. By the way, I never, ever ask you, and this is now legit, this is no shtick. I'll never ask you to donate to any organization that I have not donated to. I just don't. Frankly, I think that is just not cool to say, hey, guys, donate, and I haven't donated. Now, granted, it's usually less than $1, but it doesn't matter. I just am completely, technically honest about that. Okay. Now, I can't hear you, Neil.
You never ever do anything out of kindness. Right when people thought, oh man, that guy's got a good heart, you just auger it right into the ground.
Well, I take that little piece of coal that is my heart, and I look at it once again. Now, I want to talk a little bit about working less on Fridays. And now there's some science. We know that people work less, remote working, even when they go back to work. Casual Fridays have become non-existent Fridays at the office. You come here you should see around here on Fridays. You could literally explode a hand grenade down in the sales department and no one will get hurt. I mean, this place is a ghost town except us working behind the air, behind the mic and dealing with it technically. So what's happening now, and this is the Wall Street Journal is looking at some studies, real science, and that is Fridays have become a not just casual Friday or break a little bit earlier Friday and go down and meet everybody for a drink, etc. Fridays have become non-existent Fridays. That's not to say, here's where the science comes in. That's not to say work is not being done, because it looks like the same amount of work is being done. And on top of that, it looks like people are happier, less absenteeism. The quality and productivity of the work seems to be about the same, which this argues for a 4-day work week, even though people do work on Friday. The science is now pointing to that this hybrid work world seems to be working. It does. And so, just to give you an example, it used to be Friday was the worst day that you had traffic. Got to get out of here because it's Friday. I have to leave at the beginning of the week. Certainly in the afternoon, it's going to be jammed Fridays. Do you know that Friday is no longer the most congested day of the week? I mean, although it seems like that, you get in the car any place here in Southern California, and it's the most congested day of the year, of the decade, is that day you're on a car. But Friday brunches, Friday lunches used to be the big end-all, be-all for business lunches. And restaurants geared up for Friday. It's actually become Monday night or Tuesday night. It's Saturday where those brunches, Saturday and Sunday, where restaurants are really exploding. Have you noticed that, Neil?
Yes, there has been some change in that. Mondays still seem to be a little slower, which is why most restaurants are dark on Mondays. But yeah, there has been more places have brunches now than ever before.
Right. And I just, after the awards dinner, I went and had their brunch on Sunday morning at Universal Hilton. And it's all you can eat lobster and all you can eat the shrimp and shellfish.
How was it?
Normal. It was horrible. It was the most overpriced brunch I've ever been to in my life. Truly. I couldn't believe it. I walked out of there going, this is crazy. That's a recommendation, by the way, for anybody who goes to Universal Hilton. If you want to have brunch, don't. I literally left, walking out after I finished. I'm not exaggerating here. I left. There was a long line to come in. I went down to every single person in line and said, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. The manager was great. Jerome was just out of his mind, wonderful. But he's not cooking the food.
Please fill in for me on the folk report sometime. I'm just curious what that would sound like.
Crap. Absolutely.
You should have gone down the street to the smokehouse. The smokehouse
I've done that. Yes, great lunch. And the best, by the way, the best buffet I've ever been to, and we can plug Morongo now, is their new food.
Oh, the marketplace.
The marketplace.
Fabio Viviani's marketplace.
I was talking about that place, which is reasonably priced, and bottom line, the best buffet, all you can eat. It's not a buffet. It's a buffet. I know they serve it out.
It's a food hall, and
right.
Making it fresh in front of you.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So let me tell you how it works. What ended up happening? It was just gone awful. Anyway, the point is, it's brunches. It's Friday. It's Foodie Friday, it's how everybody deals with, and that segment is over, as disjointed as it was. Coming up, Rod Kyle, and we've got some space news, KFI AM 640 live, everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Untangling the mess until it makes sense.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Look who's knocking at the door. I'm Amy King, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. A suspected serial burglar from Long Beach has been busted. The guy's accused of breaking into homes after knocking on doors to see if anyone's home. Detectives say they've been investigating at least 25 cases in which David Silver allegedly posed as a salesman or a service worker. The burglaries happened in Long Beach, Glendale, Los Alamitos, Cerritos, and Torrance. News brought to you by System Paving. 2 more homeless camps in LA have been shut down by Inside Safe.
The mayor's office says homeless people at the 2 sites received help over the weekend, getting health services and temporary housing. One camp in East Hollywood near a daycare center had 20 people helped on Saturday. A second operation took place in the Shadow Hills area of the San Fernando Valley at a camp that was there for years. People were living in industrial tubes under the 210. The mayor says in its first year of operation, Inside Safe has brought 21,000 people off the streets. Michael Monks, KFI News.
State, local, and transportation officials are reminding people to pay attention while driving and put down those devices.
No text message, no social media post, no email is worth somebody's life.
The Auto Club's Doug Shoup tells KTLA more than 3,500 people were killed in 2021 because of something that was entirely preventable. The message this year for California Teen Safe Driving Week and National Distracted Driving Awareness Month is Be the Change. The charity World Central Kitchen has stopped its operations in Gaza following an Israeli airstrike that killed 7 workers, including an American. Cyprus says ships that recently arrived were turning back with about 240 tons of undelivered aid on board. Israeli Defense Forces spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari has promised a thorough investigation of the strike.
We will get the bottom of this and we will share our findings transparently.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has acknowledged the country's forces carried out the unintended strike on innocent people in the Gaza Strip. He says officials will do everything for it to not happen again. A 12-year-old student in Finland has allegedly shot 3 schoolmates, killing 1.
Heavily armed police cordoned off the lower secondary school with some 800 students in the city of Vantaa, just outside of the capital, after receiving a call about an incident just after 9 a.m. local time.
ABC's Tom Rivers says the young shooter was arrested in the Helsinki area later in the day, and he had a gun. Finland's prime minister posted on social media that he was deeply shocked over the school shooting. A judge overseeing former President Trump's hush money case in New York has expanded a gag order in response to Trump's criticism of the judge's daughter. The initial order last week barred Trump from making public statements about witnesses, prosecutors, and court staff. Now it includes family members of those mentioned. The trial over a payment made to porn actress Stormy Daniels during Trump's 2016 presidential campaign is set for April 15. The United Lowrider Coalition has introduced a mentorship program in San Diego County to teach kids how to customize and build their own bikes. United Lowrider Youth Council VP Evelyn Castinis says the 6-week program is a chance for kids to choose the right road.
We want them to keep them out of trouble, and hopefully they can learn new skill and hobby, and hopefully in the next time they could be a mentor too.
She says it's an opportunity to stay connected to the culture, which is about family. Lowriders and cruising were banned in California until last year. We'll check the 134 with the KFI in the Sky next.
For over 10 years, I have owned and I've recommended the Life Source Solar House water filtration system. As a matter of fact, I'm putting one in my new place. I'm not moving in until this puppy goes in, which is coming out on Friday, by the way. The Life Source system delivers obviously very highly filtered and delicious water from every tap in the house. And it never runs out of water. No maintenance, no salt, no monthly servicing. Call 800-WATER-99, 800-WATER-99. Visit LifeSourceWater.com, LifeSourceWater.com. Taste and feel the difference.
Southline weather from KFI. Some clouds hanging around this morning. Then just sunny skies. Highs around 70 at the beaches. Low to mid-70s for Metro LA and inland OC. Mid-70s to 80 in the valleys and IE. 60s in the Antelope Valley. About the same for tomorrow. Mostly cloudy and cooler on Thursday with highs in the 50s and 60s. A slight chance of rain late Thursday. Good chance we're going to have rain on Friday, but should be back to sunny skies for the weekend. Highs in the 60s. It's 50 in Anaheim, 53 Redondo Beach, 51 in Torrance, 50 in Rancho Cucamonga. The KFI Market Report brought to you by Quantum ePay. The Dow is trading down 448 points, the NASDAQ off 245. S&P 500 is down 55.
Brought to you by Quantum ePay. Merchants who make the switch to Quantum ePay save an average of 53% on payment processing. Call today to see how much you can save. Just dial pound 250 on your cell and say keyword Quantum.
So, Will, skies are looking pretty clear, but not so much on the roads, huh?
Yeah, we still have just a very slow drive here in Glendale as they work very close to clearing the crash westbound side of Glendale Avenue on the 134. Everything was pushed over to the very far right off-ramp lane with a big rig involved in a crash that killed someone in a small car. Traffic jammed up all the way back from Figueroa on that westbound 134. Again, if you haven't quite reached Figueroa, I still suggest getting off the freeway. It's going to cost you a little time, but I'd get off of Figueroa, head south to Colorado Boulevard, west over into other parts of Glendale like Brand Boulevard, get back on the freeway there. Again, though, it looks to me, at least as an observer, that they're very close to clearing this crash because they're hooking up tow trucks and such there. Northbound side of the 15, if you're heading up towards the Column Pass, maybe making a little midweek getaway towards Vegas, it's going to be a little bit slow for you right there at Kenwood. Just past Kenwood, we had a vehicle that went over the side. They're trying to pull it back up with tow truck cables and all kinds of stuff. The traffic's slow from the 215 because it's a lot to look at. The westbound side of the 91 still pretty slow out of Corona off and on out through the Fullerton area. It looks like now our earlier crash right around Imperial Highway is gone, but it's still pretty slow there. Northbound side of the 405 slow from the 105 on up towards the 10. With Southern California's only airborne traffic reports, Will Kohlschreiber, KFI in the sky.
Waiting on a tax return? Hopefully it ends up in your hands. Fraudulent tax returns due to identity theft increased by 30% in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Our U.S.-based restoration specialists are experts dedicated to helping solve your identity theft issues, and all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. So we'll reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. Help protect your information this tax season with LifeLock. Save up to 25% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com.
Attention parents, watch your child go from ABCs to confident readers in just 30 days with Hooked on Phonics. It only takes 15 minutes a day to unlock the most important life skill for their future, reading. We transform kids no matter their starting point with fun lessons, catchy songs, and guaranteed results. One grade level jump or your money back. Right now, get free access to Hooked on Math and Spelling apps, plus your first month for just $1. Visit hookedonphonics.com today and unleash your child's reading potential.
Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, sports, talk, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good. KFI AM 640. You are listening to The Bill Handel Show.
And this is KFI AM 640. Bill Handel here. It is a Tuesday morning, April the 2nd, Taco Tuesday. And it is time for some space news with Rod Pyle.
Yeah. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
KFI presents Cool Space News with Rod Pyle.
Yep, Rod Pyle, and now I am reading this because we've changed a little bit of the introduction to Rod. He is an author, journalist, editor-in-chief, Grand Poobah, and Imperial Wizard of Astra Magazine. Morning, Rod.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Well, I'm more impressed with you by the day, that's for sure. And let's not forget co-host of This Week in Space on the iHeart app, and I'm assuming wherever else apps are heard. Wow. Yeah, pretty impressive. Okay, this morning, this is what we heard in terms of a launch.
3, 2, 1, ignition. And the liftoff of Falcon 9. Go Starlink. Go SpaceX.
Okay, Rod.
Supersonic.
Yeah, Rod, let me ask you something. When did SpaceX hire people that were on very heavy drugs that almost put them, they were on their way to anesthesia, being blacked out? When did that happen?
So here's the problem. You and I grew up during the Apollo years when we had
professional public affairs officers who did this, right? So we all heard the famous Jack King and Kennedy Control for launch, and it was great. They didn't include any commercial. They didn't say, go Starlink, go Apollo, go deal. They just said it's off and running. This has been going on actually since the early 90s with private launch companies, and they're doing their own thing. So they got to insert some ads and some product placement in there, and yeah, it drives me nuts. Plus, all the announcers are named, Trevor and Tiffany and Amber, so what are you going to do?
And it's so boring. Oh, here he goes. Off we go. Falcon 9. And it used to be great stuff when a shuttle would get off. Here goes shuttle, the STS-119, a trip where the first African-American dwarf is on, and we're on our way. There used to be some excitement there.
Yeah.
That's all gone.
So
Okay.
I think part of it is maybe, and this is just pure speculation on my part, that maybe they're emulating some of that older announcing style, but yeah, it could use a little bit of punching up.
Yeah, no kidding.
But they're not, SpaceX and Blue Origin aren't really that concerned about their media, because all they have to do is do something, and it gets covered so thoroughly in the press, at least the specialty press. They're not worried about marketing.
Okay, now let's move into something that you wanted to talk about that's pretty important, and it has to do with the total solar eclipse that's happening April 8th across much of the United States. And let's put to bed, first of all, the myth that you can't look directly at the eclipse, because that may very well be the best view without those goggles and those filters. We all know that that's the best way to go. Just look right at it. Do I have that right?
That's what I was going to tell you, yeah. So if you're on the center line, which is entering the U.S. and South Texas and exiting up by Vermont and Newfoundland, of course, during totality, you can look at it with the naked eye. Anywhere else, including Los Angeles, where it'll be about 50% covered, you've got to have eclipse glasses. And here's the problem. Amazon, Walmart online, a lot of other places are selling them willy-nilly, but some of them are fakes. So what you want to see on them, which doesn't necessarily mean they're okay, is ISO approved and American Astronomical Society approved. Now, some of the fakes are printing that too. So the best way, if you can get them on time, is to go to Amazon and either buy something like Celestron or Lund, Lunt, which are two brands that we know are okay. The other thing you could do if you're in LA and you want to see this, and of course, if you've got kids and so forth, you really do want to have an experience, even though it's only partial, is to go to somewhere like Griffith Observatory. LA County Libraries are handing out free glasses. Warby Parker stores, the glasses guys, are handing out free glasses. And those are probably going to be fine. But in any case, two things to know. One, don't let your kids, especially, because their eyes are more subject to damage than adults, don't stare at it for a long time. Do it for a limited amount of time, and make sure that they're wearing it at all times if they're looking at that direction.
Well, we're talking about those sort of cardboardy glasses, right? Really inexpensive. You toss right away, but I assume we're going to actually hear some stories about a few kids going blind or some people having some serious eye damage. And of course, whenever there's a total eclipse anywhere around the world, people will just gravitate to that area. And you've got eclipse tours, and you got flights, and there have been been cruises, and people spend a lot of money. And of course, the fun part is when there's cloud coverage, and you just spend $5,000 looking at a bunch of clouds.
Well, that's what I'm anticipating. I'm going to Austin for this, but I'm anticipating looking at the bottom of the clouds and seeing nothing but that. But you can still see the shadow going, so that's not cool.
How much are you spending for that, by the way, to see the shadow of the clouds?
Airfare's doubled. Literally.
All right, we're going to come back. Okay, that's crazy. So I want to come back and pick up a couple of other things, starting with financial advice from Rod Pyle. All right, how much money you should spend on airfare to look at clouds, and a few other things. And one of them, the baby planets being found by the James Webb Telescope. We knew a lot of good stuff was going to come out of the Webb, the James Webb Telescope. And now talk about those planets that are in that magic zone. We'll talk about that a little bit with Rod Pyle coming back. Let's check in with Amy live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Laguna Beach High School says AI-generated nude photos of students have been shared with other students. Parents were first told about the photos being shared by text message last week. Last month, the Beverly Hills School District expelled 5 8th graders accused of also using AI to generate and share nude photos of their classmates. The union representing a lot of fast food workers in California says restaurant owners can afford the new $20 an hour minimum wage. Ali Bustamante says fast food profits are at record highs and there's no need to raise prices or lay off employees. But fast food chains say that's just what they're going to be doing. March Madness has turned into April sadness for the USC women's basketball team. UConn beat the Trojans 80-73 last night, knocking them out of the Elite Eight of the NCAA tournament. UConn will play star player Caitlin Clark in Iowa in the Final Four on Friday. We'll check the 101 with the KFI in the Sky next.
If you're looking to get out of your house, and I mean, a lot of people are. I certainly am looking at my house. And here's what happens. Usually when you're looking to sell a home, whether it's because you're downsizing, whether because you're just moving, maybe you've inherited, a couple of ways of doing it. You can list it, which we've always done, which all of us have done at one point or another in sales. And what you list it with a broker, you pay 6%, you paint, you clean, you repair, the place has to look spotless, potential buyers come through, you can't be there. Offers, counter offers, escrows. I mean, it's a lot of hassle. Well, let me tell you about a very easy way to sell your house. DirectBuyers.com. They're going to give you a fair price. You're going to be paid in cash. 10 days or less, no one even walks through your house. Imagine selling your house with no one walking through. That's DirectBuyers.com. Even at $15,000 cash advance before closing, and they'll never, ever lowball you. Call 844-242-SELL, 844-242-SELL. Visit DirectBuyers.com, DirectBuyers.com.
Sunny with highs in the 60s in the high desert, around 70 at the beaches, low to upper 70s inland. This report brought to you by Caltrans Clean California. From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, let's go places. Let's go to Southern California's only radio airborne traffic reporter. It's Will Cole Schreiber checking out a crash in Calabasas.
It's bad on the westbound side of the 101 right there at, this is going to be right in the heart of Calabasas at that off-ramp. A crash there, apparently a hit and run being investigated. Parkway Calabasas is what I was trying to say. And everything's off on the right shoulder, but traffic slow all the way back from Canoga on that westbound 101. The eastbound 101, pretty slow from Tarzan. It's starting at about Topanga Canyon over to the 405, predictably, and the southbound side of the 405. It's a rough morning on the southbound side of the 405 from the 118 all the way down into the Sepulveda Pass. Really slow traffic, of course. We still have Topanga Canyon shut down. That closure remains in effect until further notice. They're still working on cleaning up this crash. Earlier, fatal crash. The investigation's over. Now they're in the cleanup phase here. It's the westbound 134 at Glendale Avenue. Squeezing by, traffic squeezing by on the far right, and it is slow all the way back from before Figueroa. With Southern California's only airborne traffic reports, Will Cole Schreiber, KFI in the Sky.
Waiting on a tax return? Hopefully it ends up in your hands. Fraudulent tax returns due to identity theft increased by 30% in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Our U.S.-based restoration specialists are experts dedicated to helping solve your identity theft issues. And all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. So we'll reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. Help protect your information this tax season with LifeLock. Save up to 25% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com.
Attention parents. Watch your child go from ABCs to confident readers in just 30 days with Hooked on Phonics. It only takes 15 minutes a day to unlock the most important life skill for their future, reading. We transform kids no matter their starting point with fun lessons, catchy songs, and guaranteed results. One grade level jump or your money back. Right now, get free access to Hooked on Math and Spelling apps, plus your first month for just $1. Visit hookedonphonics.com today and unleash your child's reading potential.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives you access to all. Every audience, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow. iHeartMedia is your access company. Go to iHeartResults.com for more.
Metastatic triple-negative breast cancer. It felt like my world stopped. But moments like this...
Read it again, Mom.
Okay, honey. Keep me going. This is why I choose Trodelvy. Trodelvy, sacituzumab govitecan HCIY, is a prescription medicine for adults with triple-negative breast cancer that is spread or metastatic cancer. and who have received 2 or more prior treatments, at least one for metastatic disease. In the clinical trial, half of patients receiving Trodelvy were alive at 12 months compared with 7 months for traditional chemo. Trodelvy can cause severe or life-threatening side effects, including low white blood cell count, which can lead to infections, diarrhea, and allergic reactions. Do not take Trodelvy if you are allergic to it. Other serious side effects include nausea, vomiting, and infusion reactions. Tell your doctor right away if you experience any signs of infection while taking Trodelvy. If you are or